I was always hesitant to start a podcast because, well, I've got a busy life, and the last thing I want to do was add one more chore on my to-do list. I thought about paying others to do it for me, but just didn't feel like it was worth it. My mind changed when I heard about Spotify for podcasters and how simple and easy it was to record, edit, schedule, and distribute my podcast everywhere I wanted it to be. Seriously, the process takes you less than 5 minutes, and that's including putting together polls and questions to engage with your listeners, plus adding ads and subscriptions. That way you can make a little money on the side or turn it into your main source of income. And best of all, they do all this for free. So instead of putting money in other people's pockets, choose the platform that does the work for you and helps put money in yours. Get started at www.spotify.com/podcasters or download the Spotify for Podcasters app today. Hey guys, Akil here. Welcome back to part 2 of 25 Rules of the Wealthy. I told you in part 1 I would try to keep it short. I did not keep it short, so I split it in half. That way we can, I'm not having you here for 40 minutes. So we're gonna hop into things right away, but before we do, just to remind you, we have a free online trading workshop starting on October 24th. I'll put a link in the show notes. You can check it out, but it is free. It is 100% online. It is geared towards you, the traders, and addressing the issues and the questions and the obstacles that you have. So make sure you attend the Cyber Trader Workshop, again, kicking off October 24th, 25th, 26th, and maybe 27th if you get lucky. Link in the description box below. So we're going to kick off with number 13, which is think long term. And thinking long term is something that many people don't do. Instant gratification, instant rewards, instant success. This is what a lot of people want. And because a lot of people want that, they rush through the process. And when you rush through the process, you don't do things the right way. And when you don't do things the right way, boom, everything collapses because you don't have a great foundation. You have to give yourself time, right? All investments take time, right? Trees, flowers, fruits, all that stuff, they take time to grow. And most of the work is done underneath the surface where you don't see it before you finally get to reap the rewards. So create goals, create realistic goals, and don't get suckered into the I need it now. Give yourself a big kind of a big timeline to begin with. So, in traders, we say, hey, if you're going to learn how to trade, give yourself at least a year, right? Don't even think about becoming successful in less than a year. Give yourself at least a year. That way you work through all of our courses the correct way instead of rushing through them and then a year later needing to go back. Number 14. Be adaptive and embrace change, right? Trading specific, we know this. Markets are always changing, and therefore, as traders, we must change as well. The strategy that worked 10 years ago is not going to work the exact same way 10 years from now. So you actually have to be good at adapting and accepting change. This goes for other aspects of life as well, right? The world changes, right? Again, 2020, 2022 was a perfect example of this, where everyone was working normal 9 to 5, brick and mortar, everything was going great, and then boom, pandemic hit and everything changed. You look at the world today, it is so much different than it was just a few years ago, where a lot of people aren't working. Most people aren't working from businesses. They're working from home and whatnot, right? They're working different hours, four-day work weeks, right? It's completely different. And as a business owner and an employee, you have to be willing to change and keep up with the times. Number 15, use debt strategically, right? Akil, how can debt be good? Well, debt could be really good if you use it the right way, because debt is nothing more than taking on a loan. And we talked earlier about using other people's money. One of the most efficient ways I took on debt really early in my career was I went to grad school, and I went to grad school for 2 reasons. One reason, right? I had no idea what I was doing. I graduated college right during the Great Recession. No one was hiring. I was tired of family members asking, Akil, what are you doing? So I said, hey, let's go to grad school. I'll give myself 2 more years to answer that question. But another reason was strategically, right? Going to grad school is one of the only ways I can get a loan, right? Again, I'm a college kid. I don't have any job. I've got okay credit, but I don't really have any income history. So it's going to be hard for me to get a traditional loan. But I knew that if I went to grad school, right, I can get loan money from financial aid, right? Student loans and stuff like that. So I did the calculations, and what I did was I loaded up my credit card. I paid for my classes with my credit card because I had I have a big limit, or a good enough limit on my credit card to do so. I didn't really use my credit card, whatever like that. So I loaded up my classes on my credit card, And then I took out the biggest student loan I can get. And all of that came directly back to me because my classes were already paid for, right? So I had this big old refund check. And that gave me enough money to invest in my first real estate property. And I invested in my first real estate property. That started producing income right away. And then you get into the habit of, you're making income. And I had these little odd jobs on the side as well. And then you start to pay off that debt in a timely fashion. That way, the numbers work out. But I took on debt, and I took on a massive amount of debt. I said, give me as much debt as I can, because it allowed me to get involved in a business and start a business that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So debt isn't always bad. You just have to be strategic and smart about it. Number 16, protect your wealth, right? Now that you've made this money, you've got to protect it. You can protect it in different ways. If we're speaking from like a business perspective, actually start a business, right? You can start a sole proprietorship is just you, but you can start like an LLC, limited liability company. You can start a S Corp, C Corp, whatever it is. But when you start a business, you separate yourself from the business. So if, God forbid anything happened or anything went terribly wrong, you can't be sued and take everything from you. They can take everything from the business, but they can't take like your house and your car and your kids, even if you want to get rid of your kids sometime. So protect yourself that way. Also protect yourself by, diversification. We spoke about different revenue streams and of income and whatnot earlier. That's a different way to protect yourself as well. Again, if you lose one and you got three more, it hurts a little bit, but that machine can keep going. If you only have one and you lose one, that machine is broken. 17, reinvest dividends and profit, right? This has to do with compounding once again, just a different way of saying it, right? A natural instinct is when you make profit, whether you're in trading and you make a monthly profit or a yearly profit, whatever it is, or whether you have let's say a stock that pays dividends, right? The natural kind of instinct is to take my money, baby, right? You want to take that money, you want to do something fun with it, right? The question you want to ask yourself is, do you need to? Like, do you need to take that money out? Or is it going to be better suited staying in? This is kind of to pay yourself first, right? If you take it out, your account balance is going to shrink. And then therefore your return on that account balance is going to be smaller. Again, we're thinking in percentages, that 10% return is going to be smaller. If you reinvest it, meaning you take your profits and just keep them in the account, or take your dividends and put them into the account, right? Your account is bigger. That 10% return, which is consistent, is now going to produce more. And you want to put yourself in the position where you can keep producing more. The main goal should be to grow the account. Now, again, if you need to take the money out to pay for stuff, that's a whole different story. I'm not saying, don't struggle on the outside because you're putting everything back into the account, but don't feel the need that, hey, just because I made profit, I have to take it out and put it in my pocket. Remember, pay yourself first, and paying yourself first is not just the luxury things, it is the investment things as well. Number 18, seek out mentors. This is something I wish I did earlier in my career, but I'm really stubborn. And I thought that hard work and punching a door as hard as I can would get the job done. It doesn't, right? You need to find mentorship. And I am firmly behind it. I used to say mentorship was whack. I used to say that, you probably should find mentorship. I'm 100% dug in the dirt, the sand right now that says you need to find mentorship. And this follows up on the one we spoke about earlier about surrounding yourself with a good network, people that are going to push you. Here's what mentors are, right? Mentors are people that have done what you want to do. I'm going to repeat that. Mentors are people that have already done the thing that you would like to do. So if you are looking for direction and you are looking for the quickest, easiest in quotes, because nothing's really easy, but path to success, what better route is there than finding someone that has already done it? Not only can they say, hey, these are the things you have to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, but they can share with you a wealth of experiences. Hey, when you do 1, watch out for this. When you get to A, here's what cost me 6 extra months, right? They can tell you all the things to look out for. And you're still going to make mistakes. That's okay. And when you do make mistakes, they're going to know exactly how to help you fix it because they've been there. So whether we're talking trading, whether we're talking, you're playing sports, whether we're talking a business mentor, it is 100% needed to become successful. I shouldn't say it's needed, but it is the quickest, most efficient way to become successful if you have a mentor. So don't be stubborn. Put your ego to the side. It is nothing against you. You think about the greatest minds out there, the most successful people in the world. Guess what they all have? Mentors. 19, continuously self-improve. You guys know I follow the Kaizen philosophy, continuous improvement. Nothing more needs to be said, right? We said growth mindset, always try to get better. The minute you stop trying to get better is the minute you stop adapting, the minute you stop adjusting, the minute that you get passed by, whatever's happening in your industry, right? You are your most important investment, right? Great companies are ran by great people. They're not just great companies, right? Think about all the people that inherited like billion-dollar companies and don't know what to do, and they've destroyed it. And then think about the people that have come from nothing and built up billion-dollar companies, right? The person is the most important investment, and that is the person that you see every day in the mirror. Number 20, limit exposure to toxic people and toxic thinking. We'll spend a short time on this, but this follows up on the network thing. Again, I spoke about it. Surround yourself with good people, you tend to do good things. Surround yourself with bad people, you tend to do bad things. Boom, right? Don't let that contagious toxic thinking, negativity affect you. It's okay to cut people off. You may not have to cut them off permanently, but you may have to cut them out in your regular life. So instead of someone that you kind of see every day, maybe you say, hey, I gotta cut this habit. I'll see you once a month. We'll hang out for a little bit, but it's not going to be an everyday thing. We're not going to do the same things we used to because you're just not helping me. You're holding me back. 21, understand the value of a strong personal brand. Again, this is another one that follows up on networking, right? You are your brand. Your reputation is important. Your reputation is how people judge you. And ultimately, when people go to buy services, when people go to find mentorship, right? They're doing it because of the person, not the company, right? So always understand that if you have a good personal brand, you are more likely to get reached out to from people. If you have a bad personal brand, people are going to avoid you and they're going to avoid everything that you're associated with. Number 22, negotiate everything, right? I look at this one as saying never settle. Never settle, right? To this day, my wife is the same way, right? When we go to the supermarket, we're always looking for coupons, always looking for deals. Why would I pay more for something when I can pay less for it, right? Always negotiate. There's always a give and a take. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's time, sometimes it's a favor for a favor. Hey, I'll do this podcast episode if, you hop on mine a little bit later, right? Always negotiate, right? The upside is you can get a better deal. You save some money, save some time, whatever it may be. The downside is what? You get the same deal that was offered to you in the first place, right? So you look at a risk reward is basically you are in a trade and all you can do is make more profit and the stop loss is at break even because there's no other downside to it. I guess the person could just say no if you negotiate too hard and become offended. But, let's hope your negotiation skills are that of where you just don't offend someone that much that they say no. But you never know. I guess we should add that in there. 23. Never stop learning. Again, this is the growth mindset, always change. This is kind of a copy of continue to improve. Growth mindset, we know this already. 24, control expenses and live below your means. Again, this is another repeat from earlier where we talked about, I forgot what number it was. I think we were talking about lifestyle inflation. I think back number 7, right? Live within your means. And then number 25, know your worth and don't undersell yourself. And I like this one as the last one because this has to do with confidence, right? We spoke earlier about the trouble people get into when they go from nothing to something. And this is something I personally dealt with as well, where a lot of the time when you're nothing, a lot of people are quick to tell you that you're nothing. And in my life, man, I can't tell you how many people thought that I wouldn't graduate, I'd be a loser. Even after I graduated, I'd never make it. There's all sorts of negativity for various reasons. But the bad part is you could be as confident as whatever. Eventually, those words are going to start creeping in. You start believing it. And there were plenty of times where I felt that I didn't deserve to be successful. For you guys that have heard my trading plan, right? One of the first things in my trading plan is that I tell myself, I deserve to be successful. And that's very important to me because there were points where I didn't. And if I'm going to treat myself like that, why would I expect anything different from my results? Or at that time, I'm going out and trying to sell myself on managing money for others. If I didn't believe in myself, Why would others believe in me, right? Confidence is contagious, right? If you have it, people see it. If you don't have it, people see it as well. And even when I became actually successful, I still didn't believe it because, again, success was new to me. I was successful for a few months, maybe a year. I was unsuccessful for a long time before that. So I was making money. I was profitable. I was successful, and I still didn't believe it. Right? I'm just, I guess I probably got lucky. I'm going to be bad again, right? Because that mindset is ingrained with you for a very long time. And it takes time to kind of, reroute those neuro pathways. It's the same thing. We could look at different traumas that people have from when they're a kid, right? Those things are ingrained in their brain. Their neuro pathways are built to make those connections. And it takes a very long time and a lot of consistent, deliberate work to reorganize those things, reorganize your thought of value, your thought of success, right? Stuff like that. So it's very easy to undersell yourself. And when you do that, again, that confidence is going to drip out of you, and then that's going to affect your performance. So one thing you have to do is you gotta fake it till you make it, right? It's a fake it till you make it after you've already made it. Because when you're successful, you've made it, but you don't think that you've made it. So you've got to tell yourself that you've made it, which you've actually done, but you don't think you've done, until you can start believing that you've made it, even though you already have. Have confidence in yourself, but don't undersell yourself. Have confidence and take that confidence with whatever you do. So 25 rules, 2 episodes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, plan your trade your plan. I need a break. Take care. Hey, before you take care, do me a favor, leave me a rating and a review. We're getting towards the end of the year. They do all these podcast rankings, and we got close last year, right? We were one of the top rated podcasts out there, but I don't want to be one of the top. I want to be the top, right? So here's what you can do to help. Leave me a rating and a review, 5 stars if you feel it's worth it. Share this with your network. And yeah, I appreciate it in advance, and I'll see you guys next episode.